look at a couple of the medical terms, so root terms primarily, but some prefixes and suffixes that are related to these 5 special senses. Okay, this is a cross section of the eyeball. Again, this really isn't an anatomy course. We're going to focus on some medical terminology, but as some of this medical terminology pertains to the anatomy, let's take a look at some of those words. So we have a couple of terms we can use here pertaining to the eye. The first is a little bit tough to say, but it's ophthalmo. Another one is oculo. The front of the eye over here as it bubbles out towards the left-hand side of your screen is the cornea. And towards the back, we have this little nerve, and that is the optic nerve. So opto, ophthalmo, opulo, right? This OP, OPT, OCC really is kind of pointing us to this particular sense of the eye. Okay, here I have colored in the lens. The lens helps us to focus our vision and to take in all of the things we see and to help us see clearly. Okay, towards the inner portion of the eye, there are 3 layers to the eye, and the innermost portion is called the retina. Okay, so when you're seeing that word on your word list, the retina is the innermost layer. It is what is responsible for our sense of vision, right? Without the retina, we're going to lose our ability to see. Okay, so here we are looking at an eye. The colored ring of the eye is called the iris. So the colored portion is the iris. And the dark center of the eye is referred to as the pupil of the eye. The eyelid, okay, over the top has a root term, and it is blepharo. Blepharo. Remember that the PH letters in most of these words are going to be pronounced like an F sound, so blepharo. Here we're seeing the anatomy of the ear. And again, we're not going to talk about the entire anatomy of the ear, but I do want to point out some major components just so that as we're breaking down some terms or talking about diseases, you have some of the big layout, right, of what the anatomy of the ear is. So when we're talking about root terms for the ear, it can often be confused with the eye, but the eye is OP or OC, whereas the ear is otto, OTO. So when you see that T, that should point you, okay, towards the ear. Okay, this outer portion of your ear that sticks out is referred to as the pinna. In the center of your ear, where the arrow is pointing, you have 3 little bones. And the term you should see on your word list for bones is the term ossico, right? Refers to bones. Okay, the labyrinth, okay, which is the abbreviation labyrintho, is this inner portion of the ear. It is going to be primarily responsible for balance, okay, inside the ear, also partially responsible for your sense of hearing. All right, this arrow towards the bottom is what really separates the outer portion of the ear from the stuff that tends to be more internal. Okay, that is the eardrum, and the root term that refers to the eardrum, or at least one of them, is tympano. Okay, tympano. Okay, next up, we are looking at the anatomy of the nose. Okay, remember our sense of smell, right, was our next sense. Some of the root terms we use for the nose are either naso or rhino. We have seen these on some previous word lists, so these should be coming back to you if you've done some of our previous studies. olfacto is a root term that we use for our sense of smell. So if you look on your word list, the term olfacto refers to our sense of smell, which of course is what is happening here at the nose. So naso and rhino refer to the actual physical nose itself, right in the structures. Olfacto is our sense of smell. Next up, we have our sense of taste. Okay. And of course, our primary organ for our sense of taste is our tongue. One of the root terms that we can use for our tongue is the term linguo. On the surface of the tongue, it looks very bumped and ridged. Those are referred to as papillae of the tongue, and it's also what's responsible for our sense of taste, okay, are all those nice little bumps and ridges. We do have a new root term here, and that root term is gusto, and gusto refers to our sense of taste. All right, our last sense was our sense of touch. Some terms we can use here for our sense of touch are tacto, right, is a new root term. Hapto, it looks pretty similar, right, but some letters kind of switched around. Or palpito, okay, all of those may refer to our sense of touch.